Diddy's former assistant Phil Pines speaking out for the first time with new allegations surrounding the media mogul.
Former assistant Deshaun Diddy Combs speaking out in a new interview with new allegations about wild parties and use.
I absolutely witnessed violence, yes. There was one particular night that he came up to me and gave me a long list of items that he wanted. Baby oil and Astroglide were...
Diddy's former assistant just exposed the shocking lengths Diddy used to go to just to set up his freak-off parties. And get this, he would always leave an extremely disgusting aftermath for his assistant to clean. We are talking blood, used condoms, razor blades. I mean, the sheer thought of it makes me disgusted. And you want to know what the worst part of this is? Diddy allegedly forced his assistant to join his freak-offs or else he would get fired. Y'all, this story is insane, so let's get straight into it.
We've all probably heard about these infamous parties. Diddy's assistant now giving us details about what he says were called Wild King Nights.
Now, we all know by now that Diddy is one sick guy. I mean, the mountain of allegations brought against him at this point is enormous. However, the guy always seems to shock people when news comes out about the lengths he used to go to just to fulfill his sick and twisted desires. Y'all, the Diddy documentary revealed some extremely shocking details about Diddy that will leave you sick to your stomach. Now, it has always been a question on everyone's minds just how Diddy was always able to stage such huge freak-offs and still nobody knew about it. Well, it's because he used his own employees and then he would subject them to absolute nightmares just to ensure they wouldn't say a word. You see, according to Philip Pines, Diddy's former assistant, Diddy is more evil than we initially thought. Allegedly, Pines was the guy in charge of setting up hotel rooms for Diddy's outlandish Wild King Nights sex parties. But that's not all. Pines alleged that Diddy used to force him to sleep with women while he watched so he could prove his loyalty. Y'all, all this went down between 2019 and 2021, a period in which Pines spent most of his time covering up Diddy's alleged disgusting habits. Diddy reportedly loved to set up events which he called Wild King Nights, which involved multiple women and would often last for days. Pines' duties during these events included prepping the hotel rooms with red lights, as well as alcohol, marijuana, baby oil, towels, and illegal drugs.
We usually had a laundry list of items that included lights, alcohol, marijuana, ketamine, Molly.
Was the code to the safe 1234?
Now, after Diddy had left, Pine was the one supposed to clean up after him, which often involved removing any evidence of drugs and adult toys, as well as cleaning up stains from bodily fluids. Now, because of the mess Diddy used to leave behind after these alleged Wild King Nights, Pine says that he would always need to leave a huge tip for the hotel's housekeeping staff just so they could keep quiet about what really went down. Now, during one event in 2020, during the height of the pandemic, Diddy got COVID, but he forced Pine to work. Diddy traveled with Pine to Turks and Caicos for Diddy's birthday celebration, and they ended up infecting other people with COVID.
The reason I wanted to tell my story was, to make sure that Sean Combs and people like him can't do these kind of things to anybody else.
Y'all, this isn't the first instance of the disgusting aftermath of Diddy's parties that we have heard. According to Jason Haidt, the property manager for a Parisian palace where Diddy hosted a birthday party for Meek Mill, they left that place in a complete mess. Mr. Haidt said that the house was left completely disgusting. There were leftover drugs everywhere. Broken bottles and used condoms were everywhere in the house. The bedrooms in particular were reportedly left in a shocking state. There were used condoms in all of them, and razor blades in the hundreds, according to Mr. Haidt. There was lube all over from the floor to the dresser. Also, the beddings were all stained in blood, and it was basically just disgusting. I am sure they had to just burn everything in those beds after Diddy had left. Now, just like Wild King Night's party, Diddy also went all out for Meek Mill's party. Diddy rented out the Parisian palace for a day, which set him back a whopping $25,000. Now, inside the party, dancers dressed in only lingerie performed seductive dances for the guests of makeshift stages inside the mansion, while some scantily dressed women posed all around the house with various rappers. In one scene of the video, a girl could be seen laying on a table naked with only a tiny piece of clear vinyl covering the front of her body. She had sushi placed all over her body so people could eat it off her, and she was surrounded by other women offering people bottles of sauce to dip the sushi. Now get this. A month before the party, Diddy's assistant contacted Jason Haidt, the property manager. Diddy reportedly gave out strict instructions that he wanted the party to be held on the night of the first fight between Floyd Mayweather and Marcos Maidana as people could party hard. Diddy then said he wanted all the bedrooms to be changed and new ones to be fitted, and they were to be left unopened so they could come in and supervise their installation. All copies of the keys were to be given to Diddy personally. Noon else. Now, according to Mr. Haight, there was an issue in getting Diddy his new locks as he had demanded, because the mansion was really old and expensive. But Diddy said money was a non-issue, so Mr. Haight was ordered to spend whatever to replace the locks, and they would cover it. Now, Diddy's team told Mr. Haight had to be on site on the night of the party to oversee the party just in case any issue arose. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Mr. Haight said, "I told them I have a detached guest house in the rear of the property and that unless they summon me, I will stay there. I explained to them that the mansion is a period home, which meant all bedroom doors were solid wood with solid brass mortise-type locks with crystal door handles and skeleton keys. Y'all Diddy even allegedly got an insurance policy to cover the mansion and its contents just in case there was any loss of life at the party. Yap, that's how wild the party was. Diddy was so strict about what was in the house that he even brought his own smoke detectors, which he had removed after the party. Talk about Seuss. I mean, given everything we have heard about Diddy. Were those even smoke detectors or something else? Now, Diddy didn't just have strict requirements for the venue and his staff. He was also picky about the people he would allow into said freak-offs. You see, late last year, the New York Post interviewed one of Diddy's former staff, who worked at one of Diddy's parties, and they shared some pretty jaw-dropping details. Apparently, Diddy had a list of strict, non-negotiable rules for his events, and these requirements, according to the source, were enforced with serious precision. One of the most controversial rules? A strict guest policy that focused heavily on who was allowed in, especially when it came to women. The source revealed that Diddy allegedly set a rule that no female guest over 140 pounds could enter the party. And get this, he was so insistent on this standard that he even had a party planner stationed at the door with a weighing scale, ensuring everyone fit his criteria. The planner reportedly admitted to the Post that she'd keep a scale in her car at all times, just in case. We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved. And get this, Diddy also allegedly had a rule that no females attending his parties were to be allowed in if they had any flabs or cellulite. Diddy wanted people, especially women, who fit a certain type of image in his head, and he wouldn't settle for anything else. The Post also reported that women who were overly tattooed and had too many piercings were also not allowed into these freak-offs. But the requirements don't stop there. Y'all know girls with short hair were to be allowed in, and when Diddy entered these infamous parties, all he wanted to see were young, hot women. Now, how young, you might ask? Well, when it comes to Diddy, you know the answer to this question. Allegedly, Diddy had a don't ask, don't tell policy at his parties. If the girl was judged to be hot enough, she was allowed to enter despite her age. It was don't ask, don't tell. At the time, I was really young myself, and I honestly thought that we weren't asking their age because of drinking laws. I never stayed around for the freak-offs and had no idea that these girls were expected to have sex with people. Now, according to another source who worked at his parties back in 2004 and 2005, Diddy apparently had a whole checklist for what women had to look like before they even made it through the door. And get this, ID checks? Nope, he didn't care about that. But everything else? Oh, he was serious about it. Word is, Diddy's events had a strict dress code for the ladies. No pants, no jeans, and absolutely no flat shoes. The only thing women could wear were tiny party dresses, think barely covering the essentials and stopping mid-thigh. And he didn't stop there. Apparently every girl had to be in high stilettos and show some chest. No exceptions. Like, if you see pics from one of his parties and all the girls look like they just came out of a runway show, well, now you know why. And I am sure that isn't the worst of what Diddy demanded. But what do y'all think about this insane story? Do you think all of Diddy's former staff speaking out now are truly safe? Because we have heard reports of Diddy intimidating people from prison. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, bye.